All right, welcome, Shabbat Shalom. Just wanted to make sure that we were going out to YouTube. So anyway, great to have you here. Shabbat Shalom, especially, of course, to Ruth Feldhammer, who's becoming Bat Mitzvah this weekend. And things are almost shockingly normal in a way, except that I can only see all of your eyes. But we're in the sanctuary, which our regulars noticed. It's been in the announcements, but not everyone reads or hears them. So, and that's because we have the outdoor area set up for Kiddush lunches. So it's going to be, all services are going to be in the sanctuary now for a while. And the chapel is still just a little too small in the sanctuary. I feel like people can come and they can spread out as much as they want. If you want to go on the balcony, you can go on the balcony. If you want to sit in the background, you can sit in the background. But as I've joked before, it's amazing how far front most of you are, considering non-pandemic times. I couldn't pay you to come up this close. So anyway, it's great to have you here. And we are going to go ahead and begin our service with the additional soul that we get on Shabbat, page 1. Yedid Nefesh. And by the way, Ruth will be leading some of tonight's service. And a lot tomorrow. Yedid Nefesh Avarachaman, Yedid Nefesh Avarachaman, Mishok Avdecha, El Retzonecha, Mishok Avdecha, Ya la 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 la, El Retzonecha. Let the heavens rejoice and the earth be glad. Page 6. Yismachu Hashamayim. Yismachu Hashamayim. Yismachu Hashamayim. Yismachu Hashamayim. Betagel haaretz. Yiram hayam. Yiram hayam. Yiram hayam. Umeloho. Yiram hayam. Yiram hayam. Yiram hayam. Umeloho. Right, let's turn to page, let's see, side here, page 9. Mizmor shiru ladon ashir chadash, ki neflaot asa, Hoshea lo yamino, uzro hakodsho, hai hai hai, oniana Yeshuato, ve'ene hagoyim, gila zikato, zachar chasdo ve'emunato, levei בחצוצרות בקול שופר, הריעו לפני המלך אדוני, ירם הים ומלואו, תבל ויושבי בעיינה, נאמנות עמך וכך, יחד הרים ירוננו, לפני אדוני קיבה, לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק, ועמים במישרים, יינאי נאי 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 נאי, יינאי נאי 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 נאי, יינאי נאי יינאי נאי 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 נאי, יינאי נאי 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 נאי, יינאי נאי 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 נאי, יינאי נאי 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 נאי. Page 12. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. All right, page 13. Zang was no having fun back there. All right. Mizmor LeDavid. Mizmor LeDavid, Avol Adonai Bnei, Avol Adonai Kavod Ba'oz, Ay ay ay, Avol Adonai Kevod Shemo Yishtachavu Adonai Be'adar Kodesh, Kol Adonai Ahamayim Ehat Kavod Yirim, Adonai Amayim Rabim, Kol Adonai V'Kova, Ay ay ay, Kol Adonai Be'adar, Kol Adonai Shove Arazim, V'Shabar Adonai Et Arzei Halanon, V'Yarkirem Kemo Egem Lebanon Ve'Sirion Kemo Re'enim. Ay ay ay, Kol Adonai Potem Lavo Esh, Kol Adonai Yahir Midbar, Yahir Adonai V'Karesh, Kol Adonai Yecholem Hayalot V'Yecheso Ye'arot Uve'echalot Shuro Merkavot. Ay ay ay, Adonai Lama V'Yashav V'Yishev, Adonai Melech Le'olam, Adonai Oz Le'amo Yiter, Adonai Yevarech Et Ramo V'Shalom. Hey, ay 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 ay, ay 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 ay, ay 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 ay, ay 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 ay. Page 15. L'chadot D. Switch the tunes in the middle some. L'chadot וחדותי לקראת קלה, ונשמה נקבלה. וחדותי לקראת קלה, ונשמה נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשמו תפארת ולתהילה. וחדותי לקראת קלה, ונשמה נקבלה. וחדותי לקראת קלה, ונשמה נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי אם מקור הברכה, בראש מקדם נסוכה. סוף מעשה במחשבה תפילה. וחדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. וחדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Bottom 17, ימין ושמאל תפרוצי, את אדוני תריצי, על יד איש בן פרצי, ונשלחה ונגילה לחדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. וחדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. We rise and we face the entrance, welcoming the Shabbat bride. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם פסולה, בואי קלה, בואי קלה. וחדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. וחדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. And we say to any mourners in our midst, may God accompany you with all the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. So we may be seated. We're going to be on page 19. We welcome the Shabbat bride, and I just want to share the joy that yesterday I got to do a wedding just on a random Thursday morning at 11 in the morning in our beautiful courtyard out there. It's like about 15, 20 people. So fun, really, just lovely, simple fare. And so Mazel Tov to Lucas and Allie in case they or any members of their family are watching. Page 19. Psalm for Shabbat. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, לזמר לשמך עליון, להגיד בבוקר חסדך, אמונתך בלילות. Shabbat, tov lehodot le'Adonai, u'lezamer l'shimcha elyon, u'lezamer l'shimcha elyon. We continue silently. Tzadika tamar yifrach, Kerez balvadon yizkeh, shetunim beveit Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrihu od yenuvun beseha l'shemin vera'ananin yehu Baltimore. Nachol Kisachah Me'az Lamata Nasuderot Adonai Nasuderot Kolam Nisuderot Ochyam Mikolot Ma'im Ma'im Rabim Adirim Mishpereyam Adir Bamarom Adonai Erotecha Nehemnu Me'od Keitecha Nava Kodesh Adonai Leorech Yamim. We rise for the formal call to prayer, the Baruch Hu. Asher bivaro ma'ariva ravim. Rayom v'layla, v'ladar mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Maviyom u'mevi layla, afil ben yom u'vein layla, Adonai tzva'od shemo. Elchai v'kayam tamid imloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariva ravim. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Aveta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpat Page 25. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, v'chol levavecha, v'chol nafshecha, v'chol me'odecha, ve'hayu הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. Continue silently 27 through 29. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. טוב רצון כולו להם, משה בני ישראל חנשו לה בשמחה רבה, ואמרו כולם. יאי לי 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 יאי לי 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 יאי לי 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 יאי לי 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 מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, מלכותך ראו בניך, חוקי הים לפני משה, זה אלי אנו ואמרו, זה אלי אנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. יאי לי 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 יאי לי 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 יאי לי 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 יאי לי 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 דאמר כברת יעקב גומר חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. Page 33. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום ולעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום ולעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. Shalom, me'ata ve'ad olam. All right, this side of the room, you're going to start us off. This side. Rosalini Sukkot Shlomecha, Baruch Atah Adonai, Aparei Sukkot Shalom Aleinu, V'Kol Am Yisrael, V'Al Yerushalayim. That was so satisfying to hear, actually be able to hear the ram. So nice. All right, please rise for the Shamru, page 34, Covenant of Shabbat. Shamru b'nei Yisrael, Shabbat, לעשות את השבת, לאותם ברית עולם. בני בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לאותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לאותה ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לאותה ברית עולם. We remain standing for the Chatzim Kash, and we invite our Bat Mitzvah Ruth Feldhammer to lead us in that.
Mikda Shmei Rabba, Yom HaTikvah Yutei, Yom Lechmal Yutei, L'chayechon Yom Echon, L'chayetecho Beit Yisrael, Bagala, Bagala, L'bizman Kari, B'mirim Orein, L'Shmei Rabba Mevorach, L'olam Orein Ma'yan, Shabbat, Yitar, Yitzman, Yinasei, Yitatar, Yitalei, Yitala, Shmei Kudusha, Le'elam, Yikol Birchata, V'shirata, Tushbechata, V'nechemata, Shalom, Yiram, Re'alma, V'merim, Amen.
Private Hamidah, pages 37 through 48. Make sure you add the prayer for rain. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'enecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. All right, we're going to turn to page 49 now for the Matbeat Tefillah. Is there anyone who wants to lead the Matbeat Tefillah tonight? You want to lead it, Jack? You want to do it? Come on. Okay. Page 49.
Vayhulu hashamayim b'haaretz, vaychol tzavam, vaychal Elohim bayom hashvi'i, melachto asher asa, vayishbot bayom hashvi'i, mikol melachto asher asa, vayivarech Elohim el yom hashvi'i, vaykadesh oto, ki bo Shabbat mikol melachto, Asher bara Elohim la'asot. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor B'Hanora, El Elyon, Konei Shamayim Va'aretz, Magen Avot Bidvaro, Mechaye Metim B'Ma'amaro, Ha'el HaKadosh She'en Kamohu, Hameniach Le'amo, B'Yom Shabbat Kodsho, Ki Bam Ratza Lehaniach Lahem, Ki Bam Ratza Lehaniach Lahem, Lefanav Na'avod, Be'yarad B'Chachad, V'nodeh Lishma B'chol Yom Tamid, Me'in HaBrachot, El HaHodaot, Adon HaShalom, Mekadesh HaShabbat, U'Porech Shavi'i, U'Meniach B'Kedusha, Le'om Ekdush Ne'oneg, Zecher L'Maseh Bereshit, Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu Retzeh V'Menuchatenu, Kachenu B'Mitzvotecha, V'Tein Chelkenu B'Toratecha, Sabenu Mituvecha, V'Samchenu B'Shuatecha, V'Taher Libenu Le'avdecha Be'emet, V'Hanchilenu Adonai Eloheinu Be'ahava U'Beratzon Shalom. Ve'anu ba Yisrael, Mekadosh Shemecha, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadosh Shabbat.
Amen. Yasher Koach. Ruth, come on back up for Kaddish Shalem, page 53.
Yikadash me Rabba, Amen. Yamad Yirach Yitay Yamat Malutay, V'chayech Manu Yamat Malutay Yedechol Yisrael. V'azalo Yizman Kiribim Avil, Amen. Yikadash me Rabba Mevorach, V'alama Me'amaya Yikara. Yikara Yisrael, Yikara Yisrael Binasai, Yikara Yisrael Yisrael Shmei Kirishah. Yikara Yisrael B'chata B'shirata, Yisbechata V'nachemata Dom Yinavim Avim Amen. Yikabal Tzlatan Yibetachman Dechol Yisrael, V'dama Dechanu Shmai Avim Amen. Yehei Shlamam Yim Shmaya, V'chayim Alayim V'chol Yisrael Avim Amen. Osei Shalom Yinavav, Yasei Shalom. Alayim V'chol Yisrael, V'chol Yishvei Teval, Yim
Amen. Yasher Koach.
All right, we look forward to much more tomorrow. And actually, just while I'm thinking of it, before I do my sort of drosh for the night, where are people from? Anybody coming from out of state this trip? Just give us an idea. Yeah, go ahead, John.
New York, New Jersey,
Florida.
Great. Well, welcome to all of you. Great to have you here. New York, New Jersey, Florida. Terrific. All right, so I'm continuing with my process now of presidents of the United States. Since the beginning, I've been going over each Shabbat, except I stopped for the holidays, different presidents of the United States in order and their relationship to the Jewish community. We're up to the part now where people can get honestly offended because they're in recent enough memory. Right? No one's going to get offended if I say something about Franklin Pierce or William Henry Harrison or something that you disagree with. But now I'm on Lyndon Baines Johnson, and people here were alive during his time, and you may have strong feelings about LBJ. So getting to that, I'll probably stop at Clinton. Maybe I won't even do Clinton because it depends how much trouble I'm willing to get myself in. All right, so for LBJ, he was from Texas. He was a Democrat. He was a member of the Disciples of Christ Church. He was from a farming family, which will be important in a minute. He was senator and eventually, as I'm sure most of you know, the vice president under John F. Kennedy, and he was placed into office as soon as Kennedy was assassinated. He also served for a term after that. He won the election against Barry Goldwater, and it was a pretty famous election in terms of the contrast of their philosophies. He was from a part of Texas. Until he got into Congress, he didn't know a whole lot of Jews, but he did have a few connections. Arthur Cribb of United Artists and somebody named James Novy was the treasurer of his campaign. His biggest connection was Abe Fortas, who was the Secretary of the Interior under Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Johnson later appointed him to the U.S. Supreme Court. He had to resign. It's a long, somewhat sordid story, not by today's standards, it's not, but it was. There were some. He had done some work for. He had gotten paid for some things while he was on the court, so he resigned. Now that was important because of what ended up happening in terms of LBJ's connection to Israel. I'll get to that in a second. He also, when he became president, he was close to Arthur Goldberg, who he removed from the Supreme Court to become the United Nations ambassador. Sheldon Cohen, who was the IRS commissioner, and a Brooklyn congressman who I've actually never heard of, who should probably be more famous than he is, named Emmanuel Seller. First of all, he served 50 years in the U.S. Congress, which was amazing. And he was one of, if not the prime mover of the Voting Rights Bill in 1965. And so he was a close ally of Johnson like that. When Kennedy was assassinated, he began a correspondence that continued with the rabbi of the conservative synagogue, Addis Israel, in Washington, D.C., Stanley Rabinowitz. Now, the main part of his connection to Judaism probably comes with Israel. And in the 60s, you're talking about the period of the Six-Day War, so a very pivotal part of Israel's life and a change in their society. So Israeli leaders really liked him because he had that combination that, even though he was very Southern, but that was very Israeli, and that he was very much a straight shooter and just spoke his mind, be damned the consequences, but also was empathetic at the same time, which I know is not a combination that many Americans seem to have, but it is definitely, that's a very Israeli trait, and some would say it's a Texas trait too. Ben-Gurion talked about how when he described their taking in immigrants from poor countries, Johnson acted as if he himself was living the process, as if the man in him could feel all that they went through. So Ben-Gurion noticed his empathy toward immigrants. Abba Eban, who was less Israeli than most Israelis, I think, because he was really more of a British guy who happened to live in Israel, and very proper and very diplomatic. He said he seemed to know nothing about Israel in the beginning, but he probed away with all the tenacity of a ruthless dentist, and with about the same amount of clinical amiability. So LBJ did rub a lot of people the wrong way. But the biggest bond was actually with the Prime Minister of Israel, Levi Eshkol, who, after the Six-Day War, you have to know something about Israel's history, the Soviet Union armed Egypt significantly, and France had stopped selling weaponry to Israel. Levi Eshkol came to the United States and visited LBJ, but instead of visiting him at the White House, Lyndon Baines Johnson took him to his ranch in Texas. And as soon as he got there, put him in the Jeep, and I guess one of the farmhands says, Nellie has just calved. So one of their main cows had just given birth to calves. They sped over in the Jeep, over bumpy farm, and they went in to check on the mom and the calf, which probably Johnson might have thought would have phased Eshkol, except that Levi Eshkol grew up on a kibbutz. So they actually really bonded over farming and also irrigation, because both from dry climates, and they knew a lot about the same stuff before, and they were now politicians, but they really kind of considered themselves farmers who became politicians. So they had a real bond. According to a book called The Prime Ministers, which is a really fabulous book, but it's like 800 pages or something, on it. It does detailed biographies of all the Israeli prime ministers up to a certain point. Read it for TBA book. The author writes the following: one was hardly more than 5 foot tall, stooped, bespectacled, stoical, with age spots on his balding scalp. The other a foot taller, vigorous, groomed, abrasive, commanding, and brill-creamed. Yet, seeing them together there, squatting in the straw and exchanging deep farm talk, the impending Phantom aircraft request seemed suddenly that much more attainable. Now, the Secretary of State for LBJ, Dean Rusk, was possibly anti-Semitic, but not significantly maybe. So kind of the old state, some people know what I'm talking about, the old State Department style anti-Semitic. And so Johnson did a lot of the things he did, especially regarding Israel, over the wishes of the Secretary of State. So that was some of his connection to the Jewish community. As you probably do, if there's one thing you know about him, he had the unfortunate distinction of having to preside over the Vietnam War, something that he inherited and was unable to get out of during his term there. And you could argue that he could have gotten us out anyway, but anyway, he did it, and it probably killed him. And he decided not to seek re-election because the Vietnam War really crushed him. He died just a few years later of a heart attack on his Texas ranch. But that's a little bit about Lyndon Baines Johnson. And next week we get to Richard Milhouse Nixon. All right. We're going to now rise for the Kiddush. We're going to turn to page 55. We're going to invite
John and Rachel and Aaron and Ruth to come on up here. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei b'riah gafen. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratza b'anu v'shabbat kadsho v'avad ratzon hikilanu zikor l'maaseh b'reishit ki hu yom tefillah l'mikrayei kodesh zecher l'tzion Mitzrayim Kivanu v'charta v'tanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshcha v'ahava u'ratzon imchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai v'kadesh ha'shabbat. L'chaim. It is actual wine in there, just FYI. I don't know, but that's what I tasted. Okay, and so now put your hands, I'll take that, but put your hands on your children's heads, and anyone you're comfortable enough blessing, we say, Elohim Basar, Vikara Kalvaya, Elohim Kefraim Kimanashe, Recha Adonai B'Yisraecha, Aaronai B'Neka, Adonai B'Navelecha, Yaseh L'cha Shalom. May God bless you and keep you. May God's face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May God lift the divine face toward you and grant you peace. Amen. And we remain standing for the Aleinu. Can you go back? Aleinu l'shavei avado ha'kol v'ateinu v'alem se'erishi Shalom asanu k'rei ha'razot Shalom samanu k'mitzvot ha'adama Shalom samkapim v'hem V'kol aleinu v'kol ha'olam V'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'nodim L'ifnei melech malchei ha'malchim HaKadosh Baruch Hu V'shamayim v'yoser haaretz U'Moshe v'karo v'shamayim v'ma'al U'shvinatu zo v'gapei meromim U'Eloheinu Echad Emet Malkeinu Efes Ulato Kakatu B'Torato Yedata Hayom V'Hashimotat El Levavecha Ki Adonai Huva Elohim V'Shamayim Imachal V'Ha'aretz 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 Kakatu b'toratecha Adonai himloch le'olam va'ed v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai v'melech al kol ha'aretz v'yom ha'hu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo seated as we lovingly recall the memory of our departed relatives and friends whose yortzites we observed during the coming week, thinking especially tonight of Edwin Ames, Aaron Berkowitz, Dr. James Cohen, Hyman Cohen, Evelyn Hepps Kushner, Beth Delatore, Sarah Devoren, Ruth Eskin,
Ira Michael Feldman, Blossom Goldfarb, Sadie Goodman, Alan Green, Sidney Samuel Hertz, Louis Huberman, Steve Jenger, Isaac Kessler, Alice Klein, Maurice Clevens, Susan Ames Klinger, Morris Cuff, Fanny Landy, Anita Levine Litwack, Dorothy Lutz, Mike Marshak, Victor Mendelson, Betty Paul Katz, Donald Rapson, Ben Rust, Jeanette Bain Stern, Fanny Sussman, Abraham J. Weisbrod, Harry Winchell. Of that group, I just want to point out that for Alan Green, who's a regular part of our Minyan on Saturday morning, and a great friend, this is the first anniversary of his passing. We miss him a great deal. We are in the Shloshim, the third day mourning period for Ruth Glazer, the mother of Steve Glazer, Marilyn Golden, the aunt of Jordy Pollock, and Cantor Richard Kaplan. Just a word about Steve Glazer, who in the last few months has lost both his wife and his mom. That's sad, but that's not the interesting part. He was on the train that derailed in Montana and survived and was not injured. But just incredible amounts of service that can happen to him, although he described it. I actually talked to him the night it happened because I was afraid he was going to get stuck in the middle of Montana, and he had to fly out of Great Falls, Montana, which is where my student pulpit was, so I was prepared to contact people to try to drive an hour and a half to get him and bring him there, but I didn't need to because whatever little town they were in was like come from away. They brought him pizza, they brought him sandwiches, and they gave him rides gave everybody rides wherever they were going to. It was a very mini come from away, but it was pretty amazing the way they came together to take care of him. In any case, the memories of all these people are with us. We ask all those who are in mourning or observing your side, as well as anyone else who choose to do so, to rise from the mourner's cottage at this time. Yit Gadal v'Yit Kadash Shnei Ramah V'Alma Divrach Rutei V'Amlich Malchutei V'Chayecho V'Yomecho V'Chedecho Beit Yisrael V'Agalav V'Zman Karim V'Imru Amen Yehi Shnei Ramah Menorach V'Olam V'Olmei Almaya Yibrach V'Yishtabach V'Yipahar V'Yipramam V'Yitnaseh V'Yitadar V'Yitaleh V'Yitalach Shnei V'Yitzhak V'Yitzhak La'Elam V'Yinkol Verchata Shirata Tushbechata V'Nechmata Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'Chaim Aleinu V'Al Yisrael V'Yivru V'Oseh Shalom V'Yivroah V'Yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'Al Yisrael V'Yivru Amen. Zichronam L'Bracha. In the memory of the people who come to say Kaddish tonight, be a blessing to always. Let us say Amen. Some announcements. The first one is immediately following services in the mini courtyard outside of the chapel. There's little oneg Shabbat with some cookies and cakes and the like. Life is short, start with dessert if you haven't eaten yet. That's all I can tell you. I don't even know what the best way to tell you to get there is. There's many ways to get there. Probably the shortest is out this door, down those stairs, and then up those other stairs. Just follow the people who know what they're doing, which there will at least be a few. Tomorrow at 9:30, Ruthie Feldhammer becomes Bat Mitzvah. We'll be leading Torah service, Musaf, chanting Torah, chanting Haftorah, giving the Drash. So we're excited about that. Weekly text study resumes at 9 a.m., probably at the house where we've had it before, so I'll send out something on Sunday to confirm that. Still looking for a place that has enough outdoor seating that we could go, a cafe, but most of the places only have like a couple of tables, at least that are open for breakfast/coffee. Like looking for a place with a patio. If I'm missing someplace in Oakland, let me know. What was that? We need enough for like 12 people. But yeah, let me know, because I might be missing something. And we also have other things happening. We've got Dominion Monday and Thursday at 8. TBA Book Club this Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. The book is... Okay, we don't know. Spies of No Country. This is the beginning of the Israeli spy network. And there's Men's Club Poker on Thursday at 7 p.m. Just gonna have to look at the website because there's, it's a lot of stuff happening. Adult Ed and Mitzvah Shacket starts on Sunday, October 10th. And beginning Adult Hebrew starts on Wednesday, October 13th, which I know there's a couple people in this room who I think are signed up for that class, right? So, all right, excellent. And I think that's it for now. There is a cousin in the Feldhammer family, Cantor Joel Stein, who is going to lead us in, I think, a Don't Along. Is that right? All right. So come on up. It's on page 269. He's going to do a few more things tomorrow as well.
Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Le'nasa B'chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nika Ve'acharei Tiklot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora Ve'hu Haya Shilo lehachbira, veli reshit, veli tachlit, velo haoz, vehamizvah, vehu eli, vechai golim, vetzur chevli, vehetzara, vehu nisi, umanosli, menat kosi, Be'yom Ekra Be'yado Afkir Ruchi Be'tishan Be'ayira Be'im Ruchi Geviatli Adonai Li Ve'lo Ira.
Shabbat Shalom.